Hey there, YouTube. This is Mr. Budget coming with a deck profile for a deck that I did not see coming. Well, support for a deck that I didn't see coming. If you guys saw the thumbnail, you know this is the Lord of Haiti Flames Bapermades. Again, I have not done a deck profile list in so long, but I'm glad that I can. It got one wave of support. Finally, one dedicated card with Bapermades' name in the text box that supports this deck in its playstyle. Set 10 came out with a bunch of new grade. Set 10 and 9 came out with a bunch of new grade 3s, common, generic grade 3s that do seem like they fit the profile for Bapermades. I wish they had his name and card and skills that would help progress the play style of the deck. But if this is one step forward, it's a one step forward in the right direction. So we're gonna talk about it, reveal what came out, what it does, and go from there. And talk a little about what they need to add to this deck to make it a bit more prosperous in the current meta field. So, this is like I said, Demonic Lord of Haiti Flames Bapermades. We're playing one copy of it in the ride line. We're also playing one copy of Crimson Expeller, also in the ride line, for its grade 2. For those who don't know, Crimson Expeller has the ability to counter blast one when it's in the soul, to soul charge one card from the top of the deck and give your Vanguard plus 10,000 power. So what we're really aiming for is a soul charge of grade 3. For those who don't know, Bapermades has two skills, one passive. First skill is when he attacks, he may choose 2 grade 3 units on your board, put them into the soul, and draw 1 card. Then for every 3 grade 3s in your soul, he'll receive additional 10,000 power. Then his passive skill is that if you have 3 or more grade 3s in the soul, all of your 3s gain 5,000 shield and the ability to boost, which I also think they should have given him the ability to intercept as well. Then it goes a step further. If there are 6 or more cards in your soul, when your opponent guards Bapermades' attack, they must guard with 3 or more cards. I would have also caveat to that guard restrict a little step further in giving it a crit as well. Let's say if you had 9 or more in your soul, he also gains a crit. A crit plus 1 drive or something of that nature, just to make him a bit more you have to guard this, you really want to guard this attack, so your opponent's wasting cards out of your hand so they don't have enough guard to guard your other rear guards. I would think that would have helped Bapermades take a step further in the meta. We're also playing one copy of Flaming Pony in the right line. This works the same way as Crimson Expeller. You kind of want to try to get grade 3s off the top of your deck if you get lucky enough. Most times or not, you are going to see triggers because there's just the factor of R&D. But these 2 cards I chose for his ride line because they work in the soul. That way you don't have to worry about having certain names and things like that. They just work in the soul. And we're also playing one copy of Uncanny Burning. So if you didn't notice, if you haven't seen my videos before for this deck, Burning, Flame, Crimson, and Hellfire. It's like a progression to get to the Hellfire. So that is the ride line. Of course, we're playing 3 more copies of the Vanguard. We're also playing 3 copies of a very, very old grade 3 that I never thought I was going to see again, Mavasava. Mavasava, for those who don't know, way back in the day, I think it was like set 1 or set 2. She has the ability, when played from the hand, you can counterblast 1, choose any card in your soul, and call it out. If you choose a copy of your Vanguard, it gets added to your hand instead, and she receives 5,000 power. 9 times out of 10, you're not really going to use that ability to gain additional 5,000, unless you're winning, which is great if you are, but 9 times out of 10, you're not. So you're really going to use it to get other things out of your soul, another grade 3, other supporting cards that you need to get on your board, and things of that nature. Next, we're playing a new card that came out of set 8. This is Time Fixed Dragon Profagacia. Profagacia has the ability of when he attacks, you can EB3, give himself plus 5,000 power, and then on any player's board, put a card from their rear guard to the soul. And then if you did pay that cost, he gets the ability, if you have 4 more cards in your damage zone or you persona roll that turn, the greater the card that your opponent put into their soul, any cards in the guarding circle with that same grade lose 5k shield. So if your opponent ends up having a grade 0 on the board, you really want to target that one, but Normally, you want to target your opponent's grade 2s or your back row supports and things like that, just to get those cards out of the way. This is the real skill of this is just to get a card out of the way. And he also has a continuous ability that he gets 5k shield and an ability to intercept, which I think this is really great for Bapermades because now he's a 10k interceptor by himself. Next, we're going to play 3 copies of Mage of Bonestaff, Gorvinia. Gorvinia is a card that came as a common card that came out of set 8 as well. She has the ability one place you may soul charge one card, and then depending on the grade of that card, you get 1 or 2 abilities. If it's a 1 or less, she gets additional 5k power and the ability to boost. And then if the card is grade 2 or higher, she'll get a passive 5k shield and the ability to intercept to the end of your opponent's next turn. Honestly, I would have changed those around, kinda. I mean, that's just my opinion, but regardless, she's here to be a interceptor, a booster. Not really a booster, but most likely an interceptor. You really want to get the grade 2 and 3s into your soul. That way, during your opponent's next turn, you can defend yourself. So she's also a possible 10k shield as well. For our last normal unit, we're playing 3 copies of Wicked Smav Yato. Yato has the ability during your turn, back row. If your soul has 6 or more cards, she gets the ability to boost. And if your Vanguard is grade 3 or higher, she becomes a 15k booster with an additional +2. So you really just want to leave her in the back row just to be a 15k booster all the time. You're not really trying to use her for shield value or anything like that. That's what they're there for. So we have your Resurrectors, your Defenders, and your Booster. And as also in Resurrection, we're playing the best order card in Dark States. 3 Cage of Fury Stars. It so happens to be a grade 3, so it coincides with the ability of Bapermades. If this card goes into your soul, it does count towards your grade 3 stack. Okay, so those are all of our grade 3s. We're going to show off the grade 2. Again, we're only playing 1 grade 2 in the deck. This comes out of set 10. This is Steam Shooter Karasudu. Karasudu has the ability. If your Vanguard, again, I just got this card, so excuse me, I have to read it. Constant, Rearguard, Guardian, Soul. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Bapermades in its card name, this unit's grade gets +1 and gets 5,000 power active on your opponent's turn 2. So this is going to be a constant 15k beater, and it becomes a grade 3. Then, when this unit is put into your soul from Rearguard by the ability of your Vanguard with Bapermades in its card name, choose up to 1 grade 3 card from your drop and put it into your soul. And then you may pay the cost of an EB3, draw 1 card, choose up to 1 card from your hand, call it to an open Rearguard circle, choose one of your back row grade 3 units in the same column as that unit and stand it. So the idea here is that when you perform this skill, you want to, let's say we have Bapermades here, we have this, and then we have our booster, as so. That's a little demonstration. And let's say we have 1 card in our drop zone. You want to also, a lot of alsos. Let's say you have 3 cards in your soul to give the units a boost. You want to attack. So this is going to be 15 plus 15. This is going to be a 30k column by itself. 40k column if we persona rolled that turn. Then attack with the Vanguard skill. You're going to need another card. I keep forgetting. You're going to need another card. Attack skill. You want to put 2 cards into the soul. Then choose another card and put it also into the soul. Choose a card from your hand, grade 3 or higher. Sorry, grade 3. And call. Then a unit behind it will stand, giving you a brand new column. So that's kind of how you want to progress going forward. That way you can that way this deck now has the ability to get at least 4 to 5 attacks out consistently. And because you're playing a lot of resurrection cards, you can be able to get your grade 2 out of the soul consistently as well. This is the only grade 2 that we're playing in the deck. Technically, it counts itself as a grade 3. I'm missing a copy, so don't mind that. But this is a good step forward in support for Bapermades. Next and finally, we're going to talk about the grade 1s. That should have been Baphometa's support, but they didn't give it to this name. We're playing 4 copies of Extricate Draco Kid. This has the ability, when placed, if you have a grade 3 in your soul, you may soul charge 1 card, and that card that you soul charge is a grade 3. You may take a card from your grade 3 from your drop zone and move it to your soul. So this is a good way to gain soul and gain grade 3s in your soul as well. And it also has the ability on Rearguard, Guardian Circle, and Soul. If you have if your Vanguard is grade 3 or higher, this becomes a grade 3. So just like the grade 2 becomes a grade 3, this also becomes a grade 3. That's why I said this should have been Baphometa's support. Another card that I'm saying that considering this should have been Baphometa's support is 4 copies of Steam Fighter Labarina. Labarina has the skill, when she attacks, if your Vanguard is grade 3 or higher, she gains additional 2,000 power. So she's always going to be a 10,000k booster. At the end of the battle, you use the skill, move her to the soul. When she's in the soul, she becomes a grade 3. There's a lot of potential with this deck with cards that can shift their grades higher just to support Baphometa. That's why I said these should have been Baphometa's support. Finally, we're playing 4 copies of a Perfect Guard. You may swap one of these out for the Order if you so like. I don't use this deck so often, so that's why I don't do it. But again, your choice. Those are all of our grade 1s. And as always, when it comes to triggers, we're playing basically a crit package. These are all vanillas. I don't use the deck that often. You can switch these out for effect triggers if you so like. I would recommend effect draws just to gain an extra 10,000 shield. I would also recommend maybe swapping out 3 crits for the fronts just to gain more shield. That way you can live a bit longer. It's your opinion. But with Baphometa's skill, you kind of want to crit your opponent out of the game because they won't be able to guard so often. But that's neither here nor there. So, what do you guys think of the new Baphometa's? Does it need a bit more support? I would argue yes. It needs a draw engine. From playing this deck, I come to find out that your hand consists of no more than 5 cards given. With the grade 2, you don't always have to call a card, but you're more liable to do so because you want to get that 4th attack out, maybe that 4th, 5th attack out. But it says up to 1, so you can actually keep the cards in your hand that you draw and just stall out that way. But this needs a dedicated draw engine, something similar to the lines of Orshalagus Tilgon. When it goes into the soul, you can soul blast or play any type of cost, EV cost, counterblast cost to draw a card off of the fact that it's going into the soul. Just something that consistently adds cards to your hand. Outside of that, I would say they need to give an order to Orshalagus. Not an Orshalagus, to Baphometa's. Something to give that +9 in the soul or +12 in the soul. Do something more on top of this. It could go along the lines of, like I said, if you have +9 grade 3s in the soul, your grade 3s gain intercept. And then if you have 12 cards or more in the soul, 12 grade 3 or more cards in the soul, when Baphometa swings, he gains +1 drive, +1 crit. Just something to make him a bit more devastating. It could be a grade 3 set order. I would even go the fact of the matter of even having a normal order that you have to play every turn. I would play that over Cage of Furious Star any given day, just to allow this boss to get a bit more oomph out of his ability. But that's just my opinion. Take it, leave it as you if you like. Take it with a grain of salt. But that has been Baphometa's Set 10 update. Well, Set 8, 9, and 10 update. Look forward for more deck profiles coming up in the future. Look forward for a lot more local fight videos coming up every week. I've been Mr. Budget, and we'll see you guys here next time. Peace.